Hey guys, welcome to the Veteran Entrepreneur Podcast. My name is Scott Brewer. I'm the owner of DotMil Gear. Today I have on my good friend Elvin Lantigua. He was actually
Oh,
my supervisor out in MCAS Miramar. He was my sergeant. I was his corporal. We butted heads a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. We got along well. We're both from New York, so we see eye to eye on music and lots of other things. Um, but I'm really happy to have him on today. He's a real estate agent out there in San Diego. Um, you know, he's done a few things in between from his time from transitioning. When did you get out?
2014.
2014 to 2020. So it's been a 6 year process for him to sort of get to the real estate market. But we'll hear more about that. Elvin, why don't you tell us a little bit about your military background and a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and all that good stuff.
Well, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. It's kind of weird, we used to do our last names, now we're just first. It's pretty cool. And but first off, yeah, my name is Elvin Lantigua, born and raised in Brooklyn. Joined the Marine Corps in 2003, got out in 2014. While I was in, I was a radio repairman. Good job, good job. But I always liked doing things outside my job. So, anytime I got a chance to volunteer to do something, I did a year as a corporals course instructor. I did another year as a leadership instructor for corporals course. And shoot, I think out in Rawa, I was the NCO in charge of one of the entertainment facilities out there. So did have a pretty rich career, character building wise in the Marine Corps. And then, how far you want me to go? I'm going to talk about when I got out, or what do you want to delve in?
Yeah, go ahead and just tell us about your transition out. So like leading up to your EAS, and then sort of what you went on from there to do.
Yeah, yeah. So I was part of it was a big push and everything. And, it was time to get out after 10 years, because you had to get that staff sergeant mark, but our thing was closed down. There was really no way to get there. So it was what it was. So I got out in 2014, kind of abruptly. I thought I was going to do the full 20, and then it got, ready to the halfway mark. But it
Yeah,
was a
because
blessing.
they changed the policy, right? That's sort of what happened. Like there was a certain guideline you had to make X rank by X amount of time, and then they
Yeah,
sort of
yeah. It
pulled
went from
back on
12
that.
to 10, and it really hurt me when they did that. But it was what it was, you know. And I think they went back to 12 now. So, that's good. At least it gives other people, the chance. MOS is different. You never know when something's so full. If somebody doesn't retire, then nobody really gets promoted at a certain level. It just is what it is. So, nonetheless, got out the Marine Corps, and then I started college. So I started college as soon as I got out. I transitioned to San Diego City College. Kind of want to go that traditional route, see what that feeling was. My daughter was born like 2 months after I got out, which is cool. I got to be around that. So it was kind of just trying to find the positive things, because this transition, it happens to people. It was very abrupt. One minute you think you're going to be doing all these other things and moving around. Next thing you got to adapt. And so I took
Because
like
you're
3 months off. I think everybody does it, little 3 month off thing. And I'm glad that I started college and started doing something, because that first day when you get your DD 214, it's cool, but there's no celebration. You just pick up your papers, you go home, and nobody calls you ever again. Like, I think you were still in, like I don't know
yeah.
if you call out, hi guys. Like the world continues to turn, but here you are. Hey, do I want to get up today? Eh. But how many times can you say that before it becomes bad? So enjoy that part for sure for those who transition, but definitely have a plan to get you up and running again.
So
So
because yours was so uh, abrupt, let's say, right? Because you didn't really have a whole lot of time to plan this, right? Like they sort of changed the policy,
it
and then
was
you were sort of a victim of that within like I would think like 6 months or something like that. So you didn't really actually have a time to actually effectively plan for what you were going
Dude,
to do
I
in the future.
thought, because like my pros and cons, not pros and cons. My fit work was amazing. I was up there. I was like top 3 or 4 or something. I thought I was like, yeah, of course they're gonna keep me. It was like, and that was like, hey, dog, like, yeah, the general's not signing off on anything. I'm like, oh wow, okay, well,
So was
by the time I got that, it was probably 2 months. So like I had like basically
oh
six
wow.
days to really start getting the ball rolling, accepting that, and then now looking into the next thing that I'll be doing.
And so was school sort of on your radar, or was that like a, hey, like I don't have anything planned, like I got to get in there. And a lot of guys do this. I
Right.
mean, I did it myself. Was I went to school right away to get the benefits, to get those VA benefits, so I can get some money rolling. Was that sort of what happened to you? Was that sort of why you rolled into school?
Yeah, I did get a degree in business management with an emphasis on entrepreneurship. Not because I wanted it, because I needed to get paid. I had a family, a mortgage, to keep going. But with that said, the experience that I got from college, I'd never traded away. There was a lot of good things. I would say the experience is worth more than the paper. You know, if you take it seriously, if you take that, college could be a check in the box if you treat it like a check in the box. But going through college, I tried to join a club. I was trying to do, the things that you do outside of partying. I was too old for that. And just be that 30-year-old guy around like, no, so it was interesting to be the older person and just soaking in like, the younger generations and how they're going straight from high school to college. So I, I I was happy that I already had the experience I had, so I can kind of be a person outside looking in, sort of what the society was moving along in college.
Were you full time? I mean, were you working a job and going to school at night? I mean, how did you sort of navigate that?
So at first, I want to say the first year, I was just full time. Well, I was always a full time student. The question was I, when did I get the first job? Well, for that first year, I just wanted to understand, get a hold of what college is like. How does it feel like to take on certain amount of classes, and then like do this club like, and then be come home and be a dad and a husband. Like, how much does that really consume? And after I got a handle of it, then that's when I started pursuing a job, and it took about a year. So I was like I was the stay-at-home dad for a year, man. Don't be afraid. Yeah.
Living the life, man.
Yeah, man, changing the diapers, keeping it clean, going to school and coming back. It's pretty awesome. And then I think after the first year, I just needed any job, and something opened up for like just to like observe and report security for 14.50 an hour on the college. So I was like, all right, let me start there, and got the position. While I got the position, they put me next to like the outreach department. They go out, they recruit, they do all these presentations. I'm just like, that's more of my style over there. So anytime I was like, on a break or something, I would see what they needed. Hey, what's going on over here? What you guys got going on? And just having much more experience because everybody there's a student worker. So, everybody's 18, 19 and they're good, but the extra years that I have, working Excel or being able to present, little by little, I was able to show those things off. And they asked me, hey, do you want to join the team? I'm like, yeah, let's go do that. And so I actually we call it an outreach ambassador for about 3 years, give or take, at City College. Everything I've done before real estate was higher education, everything. So in between those 6 years, I was an outreach ambassador. I also worked admissions, financial aid, as well as I became actually for a little bit towards the end, the acting coordinator. So I was like in charge of getting every single student into the college, or he would fail. So that's the type of like, that's the type of I guess pressure I like anyway. So I did pretty good there. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, as an outreach ambassador, I think that's all I did was present and recruit, and not just high school students, but being a veteran, I was able to speak to veterans, anywhere that I could, and let them know about the mistakes that happen when you get out and you transition. The problem is that when you get out, like you don't know what you don't know, right? Like a lot of people know that you could, take VOP rehab and save your GI Bill because it's a benefit that you may have, and nobody really explains what VOP rehab is. Nobody knows that. Not too many people know about FAFSA, and that's federal government aid grant money that goes in your pocket for free. Depending on your financial aid status, you can get up to $6,000 per academic year while you're going to school and collecting GI. That's an
Right.
extra grant, and it doesn't go in your taxes. That's all grant
Right.
money. Even while you're in, you can also be doing this. And so a lot of people don't understand you can be getting paid in the military while you're going to college. And I don't know how much of a tangent I want to go on, but I really want to hit that idea is to get your education while you're in the military. You don't have to take 17, but just take one class at a
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? And it really, because at some point when you get out, even if you got the friend who's going to hook you up, right? Great. He's still going to want to make sure you have a bachelor's degree. That's usually to get you in the door for any business. Bachelor's degree is the new high school degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, even to till current times. I mean, I work on a military base. I work with a lot of soldiers, and that's something that I preach all the time. Is like, especially where I'm at here in Virginia, the base that I'm at, these guys don't have a big mission as far they're non-deployable, and I keep on trying to preach to these guys, hey, listen, like, don't end up, sort of where I ended up, where I did some college in the military, but I didn't do enough to really make any noticeable dent in the 4 year degree, you know. And make sure you guys get that done, because when you get out, you're sort of behind the curve, right? Like if you do 4 years, you're 4 years behind your peers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now they have a degree, you just got out of the military, you have that experience, but it's not really completely translatable to a lot of jobs because you don't have that degree. As silly as that is, that's just sort of the way it is. So even if you can get 2 years done, and then okay, you're jumping out, you got 2 years to go, but now you have your military experience and you have that college degree. Now people want you. Now you're a real asset. But without it, it just you're just not really all that marketable. It's just the raw and honest truth.
Yeah, man, it kills me. TRS had me so gassed up. Yeah, you got the suit on. You're gonna go kill it, and then you get out like I'm a veteran, and they're like, "Thank you for your service," but that's where it ends. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then even with the degree, now I'm like, I'm a veteran with a degree. Like, great. Now you're like competing with people with masters.
Yep.
And a lot of like, it's frustrating, but it's just like you said, the raw and honest truth. Everything you do in the military does translate, but it's hard for you to put it into words. And as tough as that is, it's hard for the person who's interviewing you and doesn't know anything about the military to understand that. That I can out excel anybody literally on Microsoft Excel. I'm able to confidently report to seniors. I'm punctual. All these things that you learn that is no big deal in the military, but these are like amazing assets. And it's a two-way street. You have to learn how to promote that, and you got to hope that the person you're giving this information to understands that. And that's ultimately this, outside of real estate, I want that. That's a big thing for me. Like I want to have a nonprofit where it's an actual training, and it's not just training, but resources, local resources that you can take advantage of to get to the next level. There's a few already in San Diego that I'm talking to as far as resources, military people already doing this. And I feel like they just need to connect more people, make like a central hub where they can come in and then you can like output them to where they need to be. Okay. Or, you're going to be doing cybersecurity. Great. This is the person you want to talk to. This is how you're going to get into this because that just wasn't there when I was there. Like I said, you do this week and it's just a week of brain dumping, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get out and, it just doesn't work out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the one thing that I like that you were talking about is basically how you, well, just to go back. I mean, you were a corporals course instructor even when you were at the unit. That was something that you did regularly. You were always big on, bringing the Marines in, showing them, giving them a period of instruction. I mean, that was sort of your shtick, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
you were a leader, you were a teacher, and it's nice to see that A, you developed that skill in the military, and then B, you were humble enough to take let's say a lower level job with the foresight of saying, hey, I can get in here, and then, oh, look, I see this opportunity, I have these skills, let me start proactively sort of implementing myself and reaching out and basically networking with these adjacent type shops and things like that,
Mhm.
and then show them your skills over a period of time to the point where you went from lower level guy to, hey, I'm basically the coordinator for the entire school. I mean, that's pretty awesome in and of itself. So I mean, kudos to you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I love the word you use, network. That's such a big deal when you're getting out transitioning. My spirit animal is a bull. So basically, that just means I just go. I go and until I hit the wall, I keep hitting that wall. And that's exactly what happened in regards of not having a network. I just thought, in my head, just thought the sheer force of like the dedication of like working hard, I'm going to get a job in a position. And no, it didn't work like that. That's only part of it. Like you need to be networking. You need to use these resources that sometimes people may or may not think like that's not for me. I don't need help. I don't need to take advantage of this, but it's literally there, and the connections that you make will get you the job that you're having. Of course, this isn't universal. Maybe somebody can't get there, but for the most part, like I always said, like I thought I was a fairly competent person, but I struggled, and so that scares me for that Marine that we all know is like, that is a great Marine, but if you take them out of that element, they may be more lost than others, and that shouldn't happen, but it is happening every day. I do think that like I went through depression. So what's that person going through? You know what I mean? Like there's so much that happens. Oh, and I just got to turn the switch off, and I'm not Marine anymore. Now I'm hey, how's it going? Good to meet you. That's not overnight. You know what I mean? So work on that network. Don't be afraid to reach out. Before you even get out, you should be already just trying to learn what the local area that you want to settle down in, and what do they have available for you. Don't be afraid to go, I'm a military, I don't want people to be veteran. Yeah, go look for the veteran organizations there, because they're there for a reason. If they didn't exist, like they exist for a reason, they didn't exist, there'd be no need. But they're there because there is a need, and definitely big on networking.
Yeah, absolutely. So that brings us to sort of where you're at today, right? Like, I mean, you didn't get there by just kind of sitting around, right? You basically met a few people and got LinkedIn. Is that sort of how you got involved in real estate?
Yeah, so the whole transition between my first off, I still work. I have a day job, like literally right now. I'm at work remote, so I don't like to make this, make it sound like, oh, I just quit and I just went and did it. Like no, like there is a there's some calculated steps that I took to get here. And right now, I still work for a college as an academic advisor on base actually for Columbia College at NCRD.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, so now since we're remote, I kind of take advantage of that, and I just move around with my computer wherever I can go. But I still got to make sure that I can answer the phone and help them. There's a lot of Marines and sailors that call that need help, and what classes to pick, and so that's what I get to do. One of my favorite jobs ever, because this was actually like when it got offered to me, it was a lower paying job than the other one that was offered to me, but I got to be back on base. I got to be around Marines again at MCRD. I got to run into some old friends, So I really just that alone, like the money didn't matter to me. I just kind of wanted that, and that it's been a blessing, So I'm actually working as we speak. I want to make that again. I want to reiterate that because some people just think like, oh, you just quit. How you do it? Like, no, man. Like, just have a good plan. You're gonna work like overwork your butt off. You have to, because like I have to put 100% of this and 1,000% on any client that I have, because they need to understand that they are the priority. And I've worked so well with the school. They've been flexible to allow me to, hey, if I got to go do something, I can go do it. I've already given them, a resignation, because I do plan on going full time. And right now, I'm just waiting for the new person to get trained up. In about 2 months, I'll be a full-time real estate agent, basically allowing me not to be stuck 8 to 5 in front of a computer and try to find these creative ways to do two things at the same time. But
Yeah, I hear that, man. I mean, I'm doing the same thing. I'm working a job, and then I come home and I'm trying to put together the podcast, and I'm trying to grow DotMil gear. And there's a lot of learning in that, right? It's not all clear cut, and I'm sure it's the same in real estate. It's not. There's no cookie cutter process. There's no follow A step, B step, C step. I'm trying to learn things the way you're trying to learn things, and that's a good point to make. I mean, sometimes you just got to make the sacrifice, and you got to suck it up and move forward. Left foot, right foot.
Yep. That's the biggest thing here, man. That's the biggest thing that I would like, because I don't think a lot of people talk about it. It's almost like you want, not say you want to hide the fact that you're working 2 jobs, but you don't want people to like, if somebody hears I'm working 2 jobs, they're gonna think that real estate
He's not successful.
Exactly. No, like it's a plan, and it's double the hurt, because I have to continue to learn things, with my job at the same time. Like you said, like you come home, you're already tired, but it doesn't matter. You still have to learn new things. and continue as is, and just find those times for you. And it'll be good for people to talk more about that. So people don't just think like, oh, I can't follow this dream because I have to quit this. You don't have to quit it. You can just start off on your free time. I do a lot of videos on social media, and I just did one earlier this week about not, limited beliefs and saying I don't have enough time. Like, you have enough time. Right? Listen, if you got time to pick up the video game, which do, or you got time to just get out or whatever, relax. That's the time you should be putting in to this new passion of yours. And to talk about that, it's scary to press the reset button. The older you get, I think it's easy. You get more into this routine thing, but you gotta take that first step, press the reset button, and learn something new.
Yeah. I can't agree with that more. I mean, this is my third business now, and it's like I keep on hitting the reset button, and then, even the business that I have now, it's like trying to get it to grow. It's like it's slow. It's like, man, what am I doing? Is this even going the right direction? Is this going to be a thing? Like, how can I make this work? What do I need to learn to get it to go? I'm learning about search engine optimization. I'm trying to learn how to edit videos and audio, and I'm trying to figure out Instagram and Facebook, and there's no
I've
real right.
never posted anything prior to real estate. Like, my wife would tag me and everything. But now, hey, this is what it takes. You gotta get social media. You gotta get people to understand that I'm an agent, And funny thing, the hardest people to impress are your closest friends, because it's like, they know you for this one thing. So it's kind of weird for you to just switch to this other thing, but that's the power of social media, is that you're able to give value and show how you're growing. You get to see, like, my first videos, they look horrible, horrendous, but I'm doing it. I'm trying, I'm sweating, I'm just, hi guys, you know what I mean? But now, I've gotten more fluent with it. I want to be able to put more passion into what I'm saying. I think I get stuck sometimes. And doing videos is not the same thing. I could talk 8 hours to a group of 1,000 people, but in front of a camera, it's so different. Even right now, I'm just gonna go back, see this, and just be like, I can't believe what was I doing there, But learning what to say, and then it can sometimes slow you down on how to say it, right? So you gotta try to be a little bit extra on a video. So right now, I think that's where I'm trying to learn as far as social media and getting out there. I think I'm on a tangent. You was asking earlier about like how I went into real estate.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, man, like, actually the fact that I hit the reset button so many times throughout those 6 years, like going from Marine to, to outreach, and then to, all these little departments in higher education. At some point I was like, if I work so hard, and there are politics, there's so much you got to deal with. And I'm like, if I can do exactly what I'm doing but for myself, this can be something that I can work on. That's kind of what pushed me to real estate, was how can I continue to help military members technically, but get paid for it? Like, I want to help so much, but can I feed my kids while I'm doing it? And that I thought that was just a great transition. And I didn't even like real estate a couple of years back. It wasn't a thing, because to me, it was like, oh, sales. I don't want to sell. I want a service. But I don't know, something hit me one day. I think I was watching a video, and I was like, I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling, dude, I can't sell you $1 million home. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You either want something and I'm here to service you through the process,
right,
or you don't want it, and I can give you some information in the future of, of what you're looking for. But, that's a big thing for me. It's like, I don't sell anything. I help you through the process. If you want to sell your home, I will help you. My service is to get rid of everything and take it on for you. But I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, the home is still yours and the property is being sold by you. I'm just representing you. Same thing with buying, like, I'm not selling you. I'm helping you with all the contracts and legalities that you don't have time for, because you have like a life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're just a conduit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and did you have to go to school for that, or did you do that through like an online program? How did that work out?
You can do it both ways for me. So like when I first started trying it out, there was that online course thing, but I just wasn't a fan. It was just like, sit here, read all this, and come back when you're ready to take a test. It makes sense, you know what I mean? I'm like, it just stayed there, and I just kept looking at it. But what I did was, again, you know, knowing yourself, seek self improvement, right? Like, I knew that I needed to be held accountable to get this done, and so you can actually take in San Diego, you could take 3 college courses, and that would let you be eligible for a test. So I took it college style. So after my degree and everything, I graduated from San Diego State. I went back to City College, and I just took these classes online in 8 weeks and knocked it out the park. And you know, then I went for the exam.
So you did do it online.
Yes, but through college, I think there is a difference between
Oh,
online college
I got you. I
and
got you.
like online crash course certification. There
Got you.
are
Got you.
both ways to go, but that's what I meant. Yeah, is that you know, no, I did not sit in the classroom, but when you do it this way, I just felt like, well, I don't want an F. I don't want that in my permanent record. So when they give you homework, you're like doing the homework, and there's
Right.
somebody that you can speak to versus which, hey, if you can do it, great, but you know, you can just take a crash course, read like 200 pages on your own, and then you would like be self-quizzed, and then that certificate you get, you can use to take the exam.
And so did you go right into a real estate group? I mean, I know you're with a particular group now. Did you start? I mean, this one seems like it's really high end, to be honest with you. I mean, everything that I'm seeing in the office, I mean, everything that I've sort of found from Instagram and Facebook and even their website, it seems really high scale. So did you start at a lower tier agency and work up, or did you just land it?
So yes, I am part of the Discher Real Estate Group in downtown San Diego, and I became part of it because of my network. I see. So throughout the course of time, while I was doing college, I was always, like I said, I've always been into entrepreneurship. I have a friend of mine who has its own San Diego-based, I want to say moving company, but you can hire muscle to help you move things in and out. It's called Favio. And so I was helping the founders out just on the side for free, like, hey, like, what do you need? You know, I could pull reports. I was able to show them based off, you know, data that was collected, how many people were male, female, age range, and
Mm,
this could help them understand better who their clients were. You know, so oh wow, look, actually, single women between this age is the type of people who are looking for our service because it's a lot of heavy stuff to move. Sometimes, you know, nobody wants to come and help out, but for $35 per person per hour, somebody to show up in your door and move what you want to move. So that was a pretty cool thing. I was able to help them out on a bunch of other things. But basically, when they heard I was going to real estate, they know when I say something, it becomes bull mode. I'm just going to do it. And they they wanted to really, you know, they knew how it could work, and they reached out to so again, Discher Real Estate Group by Jeff Discher. So Jeff Discher, over 16 years in the game, he's a licensed broker, works with Douglas Elliman. So I'm part of the Douglas Elliman brokerage and part of the Discher Real Estate Group. And you know, speaking with him, before I even got there, the people from Fabio had reached out to him like, hey man, like you need to hire this guy. And then another friend of mine, Jose, who's starting something similar, he reached out to him as well. So by the time I met him, 3 people already mentioned my name. And he already knew, based on, you know, I'm coming in with like, you know, a resume, I'm just ready, you know what I mean? But he just based off the recommendations, it was going to go down. So that's how I became part of it. I started in January, and, you know, I decided to join. I didn't need to join a group, but this is why I put it for people when it comes to being a group, you know. So why would you choose one or the other? When you're part of a group, you're going to split your commission a bit more than if you're by yourself. And you know, some people don't want to split that commission. Great. If you're going to go do it by yourself, you have no one to speak to when that contract's in front of your face. Real estate, or I think anything you get into, it's just like, it's almost like the military. Like, what in boot camp did you really use when you started like in the fleet? Like, you know, it was just all this stuff you learned, and then you actually did Marine stuff, and you're like, oh, it wasn't exactly, you know what I mean? And so
yeah.
it's the same thing with real estate. Like, you're going to pass that exam, and it's not like there's nothing with the exam's not going to prepare you for the real estate. You know, it's not going to prepare you to you know, to reach out to people, to you know, create value for yourself. You know, creating a brand name. It's not going to prepare you for when there's a contract that you need to sign, and the person is asking for something different, because everything's negotiable. You know, so how are you going to? Hey, you know what? I like that patio set. Let's put that in the contract. Where? How? So I'm able to have that 24/7, and not just you know, Jeff, but my peers as well, it just creates this group function where it's like, spirit of core, good competition. Like, all right, I want to go over here. I want to, oh wow, look what he did. I can pick off of that. And so I like that. I want to go through that for a couple of years before, one day, yes, I'm going to want to have my own brokerage. To become a broker, you need to be full-time real estate agent for at least 2 years and then pass that exam. And so that'll be like one day in the future, I'll be moving towards that. But I don't want to like to service a client, put their trust in me, and I'm just going to be running around like, no, like everything I do is vetted. Everything I do, like I'm learning, but I'm also, that you as a client is taken care of because everything that I'm doing is backed by over 20 years experience with a group of people behind me. And
Right.
so that's my thing of going through a group.
So it's almost like an active paid internship to an extent, right? Like, I mean, you're
Yes,
getting
that's
on the
a
job
really
training,
cool.
you're doing real deals, but at the same time, you're also able to use the people around you to serve as that checks and balances and to kind of provide those nuggets and bullet points that you may not have known by yourself and may have actually sort of messed up. Um, yeah, that's really interesting. And so are they providing you leads, or are you going out there? Are you making the cold calls? Are you scouring the MLA? Like,
Yeah.
walk us through that.
Yeah. No. So yes, with the MLS and everything, but
Oh, sorry, MLS.
no. That's all good. I try to see. I just kind of smooth it in real quick.
Industry standard right there.
I got you, man. But no. So yes, we're provided leads. But that's not what you don't sit there like waiting for this. You don't know when the lead is gonna come. Like that's probably like once every few days you get a lead. The lead will be put, and then whoever jumps on it goes for it. But that's not at all what you want to do. Like that's another reason I like it. It's very independent based. Like everything here is very sink or swim. So yes, being part of the group, I get access to the office, to a lot of social media material, as well as learning everything on how they do it, and I can incorporate it, make it my own thing. But no, leads is just on your own. I like that because I've heard from other people when they switch over, they're in other groups. Other groups, every group is different. There's some groups that are gonna, hey, you come work for me, with me. I'm gonna give you leads all the time. Great. So what you're doing is someone's giving you a fish, and you're not learning how to fish for yourself. And it may create a dependency. Like you might be scared to go out there, and if you do go out there, you're not going to do too well because everything was always provided for you. Over here, the training is specific for you to become the fisherman. And go out and learn how to speak to people, learn how the market works. Just have that environment with those conversations.
And so, I mean, then how are you sourcing your leads then? I mean, are you like how does that
Everything is
process work?
okay, so like I provide value through social media, and sometimes people will reach out for a conversation like, oh wow, I like the way you did that over there. So through social media, Instagram is the biggest one for me, as well as through my current job. People like my clients actually so far have all come through the college that I go to, that I work for,
Uh,
because I'm their advisor. I always like before real estate, I've always like done more than my job. So my job is just, let me give you advice on what classes to take. A lot of these people weren't aware of FAFSA, and then I would like hand walk them through the process. Like that could be very annoying for some people, but for me, I don't really care. Like I want to see I want to see you be successful. And so they're able to see all the extra things that I was able to do for them because they've gone through a bunch of colleges. Like a lot of the students, this is not their first time in college. They
right.
bounced around. They can tell that there is a difference when it comes to me. And so, when they hear the same thing, when they hear I'm going to go do this thing, wow, you know what? I'm looking for a home too. And just based off the work that I did for them in college, they know they're going to be taken care of when it comes to a house because it's all transferable. You know what I mean? When I was, like I said, when I was a Marine platoon sergeant, I did the same thing. I just wanted to see everybody be successful. Like that was my whole big thing. And I'll shield everybody from all the working parties as much as I can, just to make sure y'all had enough time to take care of what you have to take care of. So again, I just throw that out there so that way if you find yourself like the work you're doing now in your job, if you're extremely proficient in it, like that's going to translate. And I think sometimes it's scared to press that reset button and try something so scary. But I think it's what happened to me is I did it so many times, so many areas. At some point, I'm like, yeah, I should be able to write. And so far, I am all right. But yes, to go back to that question, social media prospecting, as well as going through my database of people I already know, And it's not like, hey, do you want me to sell you? Stay away from that. It's just a conversation, and just based on the conversation, the rapport that we pick up, so are you either gonna want to work with me or you want to wait till later? Either way, doesn't care. Like, I want to help. And this weird thing of like not wanting to sell you, it's weird, but it works. Like it's just, hey man, I just want to help you out. Like even if you already got an agent, I'm never gonna step on nobody agent's toes. If you got any questions that you want to throw in a conversation, hey, ask me. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
it's genuine, and I think
yeah,
people see that when you're trying to put up a front. It's you can spot it from a mile away. It doesn't matter how good you think you are at it. If you're genuinely showing care and taking the
right,
time to help somebody, you've made an impact on them. If they need something, they're going to seek those people out because they know they can be relied on, right? And so
exactly.
that's sort of what sounds like you're providing to these particular people that you're working with at the school. And obviously social media is a big one. With your recent certification as a military relocation specialist,
Yeah.
are you now like, so if I'm Joe Schmo in the army, I mean, and I'm PCSing from Fort Hood to, I don't know if they even have a base in San Diego, the army, but let's just say I'm moving to San Diego. Is
Yeah,
there a
North Carolina to San Diego.
right?
We
So
go.
whatever. Is there a database where these people are sort of put in contact with these relocation specialists? Like, are you affiliated, or are you a separate entity, and they have to sort of seek you out? Like, how can someone utilize your services if they're PCSing in the near future, or if they're looking at PCS at some point in the future?
So my certification for military relocation, it's something that it's a course you pay, you take, and again, I was already proficient in this, but to take it to be able to say, look, I have this, that's why I did it, so you can understand just from a certification. Sometimes some people want to see the paper, so there's the paper. There is not, it doesn't exist that I'm aware of a place where you can look for a military relocation specialist specifically. There are other associations that I can be part of, but I'm currently not. I just want to work. I'm already part of the Discher real estate group. And as I'm learning more, maybe there's another association because everybody wants to pay a fee. I'm not gonna be part of us. I don't want to pay a fee. I want to just organically grow and
Right.
figure this thing out. And so, like, if you would reach out to me, it would be a word of mouth. It would be a network. It would be through social media or somebody you hear of about the work that I've done.
Go ahead and drop your social media tag so everyone
Oh
can.
yes.
Yeah.
So my social media Instagram is at my Realtor Elvin. So that's at my Realtor Elvin. And if you look up Elvin Lantigua on Facebook, LinkedIn, you'll also find me there. And I'm currently working on getting a YouTube going. So I already had just made it just so I can have it. Nobody takes it, but it's going to be the same thing. My Realtor Elvin is going to be for YouTube.
And we'll also make sure that we drop the tags in the link below in the description. So yeah, right there. I gotta work on like the pointing stuff. I'm not good at that. So
Yeah.
a little help from Elvin over there. I appreciate
I
that.
got you, man. I got
Highlighting my insufficiencies. Thanks.
you. No, man. Dude, you're awesome, man. You got and just go back to when I met you. When you were saying like I was a supervisor and everything. Like I said, when you met me, like I had nothing to do. Like you were so easy. Like you were your own supervisor. I was just there to help you out. Like what I mean. So just put that back on you, man. Like everything you do, sometimes like man, like look at this guy. He's like you were like helping out Brandon Marshall. I'm like what with tennis balls. So don't. No, yeah, no, yeah. You're awesome, man. And I
Uh,
don't know if I admire you from afar. Everything you've done, every single step, I've always admired it. Like, damn, look at him. He's doing it. And so you're actually part of inspiration for me to go ahead and do it and press that reset button. Because sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. You take all this time to learn all this stuff and then you just throw it out the window and then learn something new.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think one of the most important things you can learn is to be able to press that reset button because if not, you're not going to be happy. That's one of the big things is taking that step to admit to yourself, yeah, I need to change completely different lanes because this isn't what I want to be doing for the next 30 or 40 years.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that. And I totally agree with that. I mean, well, I mean, even before I get out of the Marine Corps, I was competing in powerlifting for years. I mean, I was sort of on that fitness journey for a really long time, got out, spent countless hours and time and money. I went to numerous courses that, upwards of probably spent almost $20,000 on just like continuing education and things like that, to make myself more well-rounded, more marketable. And then, yeah, boop, reset. And people were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Sorry,
Yeah.
man. Like, you just got to jump ship sometimes. If it's not working, you gotta recognize that and smell you later. You got to recalibrate, re-engage, and set a new azimuth and go." But the next piece I want to talk to you is there's a lot of Marines obviously in San Diego. So can you just sort of talk about the current real estate market in San Diego? Is it a time to buy? Where's the best places to buy? Um, all the different metrics and things like that you can sort of paint a broad picture so people can better understand the market there in San Diego.
So in San Diego right now, the market's hot, hot, hot. Yeah, it's literally probably the most busy it's ever been. I'm not sure in like the history of San Diego, but it's pretty crazy. So, people would think, there are some people, oh, it's a buy. No, if you're out there, what you're gonna realize it's all like basic economics, supply and demand. The supply right now in San Diego is extremely low as far. And when I say supply, I mean homes. The supply of homes. There's not enough homes that are for sale, but there are an extreme amount of people trying to buy homes right now, especially during the summer. And when it comes to Marines, it's PCS season. So everybody is moving around right now. And the thing is, when you get here, you're competing with probably an average of 9 to 24 offers, depending on your range. So I just want to pull some
Wow.
statistics out right now. As a Marine or just anybody in the military, you're not trying to go buy $1 million home. Usually the range is between 4 to 600,000 is where a lot of military members want to look and are qualified for. Because that's the other thing too. You want to pre-qualify yourself through a local bank. That way you can actually know how much up to you'll be able to look for a home. So right now, when you look at the, let's just say 1,500 square feet and below, which is like a regular home in San Diego, the inventory is at the lowest right now at zero point 0.8. So the way that works, the numbers is, as compared to US, which is 4.7. That number is the month of, let's just say nobody ever went to sell another house again. And it's just the number of homes on the market. This is a calculation they do. And that number, that one, is 1 month. It would take 1 month to sell everything on the market right now. There'd be no more homes left. So right now in the US it's 4.7. That means in 4.7 months, if nobody sold another house, it would take 4.7 months to buy up every house in the United States.
Gotcha.
In San Diego, for homes 1,500 square feet and below, it's 0.9. In less than a month, every single home that's 15 square feet below would be sold. And so what happens is that because of how low the rates are right now, so if people aren't aware, it's the lowest they've been, at least in our lifetime, in my lifetime. You'll find them between 2.25, 2.75. I don't like to speak because I'm not a lender, but these are the numbers that I've seen thus far, depending on who you are. And so when you're seeing that, everybody now wants to buy a house, right? Oh man, it's super low. Let me go get pre-qualified right now. But you just did that with thousands of other people. So that's a strong demand. And being that you're in the military, like I said, you're not looking for like the $1 million home. You're going to look for 400,000 to 600,000, which is technically around 1,500 square feet. And you're competing not just with other military members, you're competing with people who have cash ready to buy. San Diego is growing, one of the fastest growing cities right now in the United States. Everybody loves it here. It's got that whole Ron Burgundy laid back feeling where, everything's sunny. There's basically no bad weather here. Every day it's 70 degrees. You go for Christmas, have a Mai Tai at the beach, you know what I mean? And it's nice, I always say it's New York, but without having to look over your shoulder, you know what I mean? So it's that type of vibe, And so what happens is right now, houses are going probably whatever the list price is, it's being sold for $15,000 to $30,000 more, because
Wow.
that's the type of people are coming in right now. You're not looking for a deal, you're looking for a home. But as you go higher, then there's less demand because not everybody has that type of money. So now when you start hitting the $800,000, $900,000 homes, now you can kind of like have more power as a buyer because the seller doesn't have 10 offers on the table. One of them, which is like, oh, waive appraisal. We don't have to do a home inspection, none of it. We just want the house. Here's all this money. And that's the type of people you're going against on top of other people with VA loans.
So well, I guess that's, so why is that barrier there right now? Like, are people moving out of LA and coming down south because of sort of what's going on within the country? Is that part of it? Is it obviously, there's the virus as well? Like what's sort of causing that demand there?
I think the might be causing a lack of supply where nobody wants to really sell right now with everything happening. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think for me, my own personal opinion, I think the virus is just affecting how many people don't want to sell right now. But then when you look at the buyer side, it's a multitude of things. I believe we're reaching an age now where millennials, people like, oh, millennials, like, they're like, yo, no, we're 30, man. Like, we're well in our career. Most, we already have kids and spouses. And now we're looking for that next step, that American dream, which is the, a home.
Own a home.
So a lot of millennials are now coming at this, at that part where you're able to have money, or at least you're starting to think about home buying. So that's an entire new demographic that are now starting to show up. Then you're also looking at San Diego being a military town. Sometimes people don't realize there's like 5 or 6 different bases between the Marines and the Navy.
Yeah.
There's 32nd Street, there's Point Loma, there's Coronado, there's Miramar, there's Pendleton, there's the Marine Recruit Depot right here. So you have I don't know, 18, 20,000 different people always moving in and out. And usually when they when you're going to leave somewhere and you have the choice to sell or keep it for rent, a lot of people are seeing like the benefits of like, oh no, let me just rent this out. So now that's one home that won't be relisted even though you bought it, and that's just going to stay off the market now while you're receiving a rent for that money. And that's kind of like how I like to push it right now. Other things that change that are crazy, the VA, there used to be a cap on how much you can buy a house for depending on where you're at. Like the VA won't go over this no matter what. They removed that cap. If you can prove that you can afford $1 million home, you can purchase that VA loan. And what a lot of, what some people are doing is kind of hacking it, because you're for certain situations, you can show that, that even though if I want to buy this home, but I can't afford $1 million, but I'm buying a multifamily. I'm going to live in this one because you have to, as a VA, you have to live in a primary residence, but now you have 2 empty units. The potential rent of these 2 units will actually offset what I cannot afford. Now I can afford the $1 million home. And so people who are taking advantage of that, that's another reason where like everybody's starting to come in.
Yeah, that's because me and you had talked about that offline like a few months ago. And I find that really interesting. And also, I mean, it's an awesome added benefit too, right? Because, now there's a home that maybe you can get in and get a good deal in, and maybe it was a little bit out of your price range, but now you can get in it, and, maybe 10, 20 years from now you sell it and you can reap a nice benefit from it.
You're talking about, like imagine you just get like a 3 family home, right? 3 family, you got one, and then like two units as well. At one point, let's just say you're in the military doing this and you're going to move. You're going to take your VA with you. You just refinance to let go of that VA, because you can only usually hold one VA home at a time. So use your loan at 0 down. And so you leave that primary residence, go to your new residence, and you literally just freed up an entire 3rd unit that now you're going to rent. And now you have 3 people paying your rent on this home. That should, at least if it doesn't cover that's that dream, that you want to make sure it's something called a cap rate to see what is the rate of return, and you're able to calculate these things. But let's just say that at the usually you want to make a profit. But let's say you don't. Let's say your 3 rents pay off the mortgage. You have somebody else paying now a unit something you own. And every year, not only is it being paid off by somebody else, you're earning equity in it.
Right.
And so, it's this long-sighted term. I think it's hard because we just kind of think about the now. But in 30 years, you'll be 60. Isn't that the time you're trying to retire? So now you just paid off your home, And now you have three people still paying you because you know the rent's going to keep going up every year. So how far along will the rent be in 30 years? And now you have a continuous source of income, and that's how you truly retire. You know what I mean? If you're able to build that's one of the ways. And so, that is another thing I'll be looking at is, self-investing as well. I look forward to doing that. So with that being said, also giving that to your children, I don't, hey, if you got it, great. But I know that anyone in my family, unfortunately, when, the time comes to pass, I'm not receiving anything. So for me to be able to have this to give to my children, that's a whole nother thing. It's going to free up your child to do what they want versus do what they have to do. You know what I mean? I love the Marine Corps, but I joined the Marine Corps to get out of where I was. You know what I mean? And within doing that, I learned to love it, but it was like a forced decision that I had to make. So I don't know where I would have been without it. I'm glad that I did it, more than glad. But if I can offer the opportunity for my children to fail, that's the thing. You have to fail to learn. That's just the way it is. A true failure is when you give up. But understand that whatever it is you want to do, you're gonna have to fail it a few times to get there. But it's for me, I like to have that to be able to give to my children. I'm sure there's so many people out there who want to do that as well.
So with that being said, long-term goal for you and your business and your real estate career, that's the plan. Multifamily homes. I mean, where do you want to go?
So real estate, as far as being a realtor and investing, it's the fuel. It's not the end game. It's the fuel. It's a way that I'll be able to reward myself and my family in the future. So I want to be able to, yes, own multifamily, but more importantly, I want to be able to open up with that money services for the military. That transition, hey, if you can figure it out, great. But like I said, like it's no joke for some. You know what I mean? It doesn't just disrupt yourself; it disrupts your family. Where you had this routine and your spouse was used to this routine, and now it's changed and it's affecting you. It can affect the relationship. And I think, from what I've seen, in certain groups and certain friends, and, that's what happens. You get out and things change. Things change, so you change. You change, so relationship change. So now you lose friends you're always with. You, heaven forbid, you may lose your relationship, and now you're truly isolated. Because you want to avoid isolation, but that's what happens because if you're going to college, I didn't make too many friends in college because they're very much younger than me, so it's hard to relate. You're trying to stick to. That's how people are. Sometimes a lot of people are within similar age groups. So like, who are you really hanging out with? And I think that's one of the downward spirals. So I want to create again an organization where you come in and we can truly set you up for success. And the resources to help you out. Because again, I do think there's an issue where you go from being told what to do every day to one day you wake up and nobody tells you anything. That's people will laugh until it happens and like, damn, all right, you know what I mean? So I think that's the end game for me is to have that organization to continue to grow. I don't know where I'm gonna be in 10 or 20 years. I just know this is where I'm going to be now, and this is going to help me to get to the next level.
Yeah. Well, I definitely would like to get into real estate at some point. And you're definitely somebody that I've talked with about that before, and I have a cousin as well, and so I'm always bouncing ideas back and forth. I'm trying to focus on this right now. But I'm hoping in 5 years I can start trying to make some sort of transition and sort of add that to my repertoire. But it's an overwhelming industry. And I definitely, we're going to talk about this more on the podcast at a later date and stuff like that, and really try to do a deep dive into real estate because there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of these, Instagram get rich quick schemes. There's all these different avenues, within real estate, and everyone always seems to have the it formula, right? All you need to do is get 4 family homes, and then you're on your way to a 6-figure passive income, and it's like, give me a break, man. Like, so that's something that I want to dispel, and we're definitely going to do a deep dive on that, and I'm excited for that because I'm going to learn as well because I really don't know a whole lot. I mean, I've been called the MLS and MLA or an MLA and MLS.
If I want to get into what you're doing right now, I can make 1,000 different mistakes as well. So that's nothing big. It's just doing it. You know what I
Just
mean?
doing it. Yep. There's a
And the networking, being able to talk to you, see how you're doing, helping you out with your business, because then I get to learn as well and see how it is to like build a site where you need to like people can shop and you gotta put your credit card information in there and it's a lot. Like I don't know how that works. Like like who do you use? You go to Shopify. I hear people do that. You do your own thing. Some people create their own like. So for me to be talking, I'd be what I mean. So this type of conversation really helps.
Yeah, no shame here, man. I'm an open book, man. I'm learning the website thing too. I've got this little podcast tab now on the website, and it won't pull up the podcast. So it's like this empty bar with like a few, like a Spotify link, a YouTube, and so you can click the links, and it'll bring you to the extracted site, but it won't like play in the little player down at the bottom hand corner. So I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure that. I'm staying up late. I'm Googling, I'm YouTubing, trying to make it happen. It's a fail.
That's it, man. Just
I'm gonna
make it
find.
happen. Hell
I'm
yeah.
gonna find somebody. There's a
And when you figure it out, then you tell me because I don't know either. So
yeah, I'll let you know. I'll definitely let you know. But there's a quote that I always think about. I was exposed to this when I was young playing baseball, and there's a guy by the name of Branch Rickey. He was the manager of I think Dodgers. He's the guy who basically brought in Jackie Robinson into the major leagues. All right. And he has this quote. The quote is, "Good luck is the residue of design," meaning that there basically is no good luck, right? Like you make your luck. It's a byproduct of your hard work and stuff like that. And so that's something I always think about. And maybe something that you live by that you don't really know per se, but I think it's a valuable quote. So, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, you could find Elvin at My Realtor Elvin on Instagram. He's on Facebook at My Realtor Elvin as well.
Facebook, it's just Elvin Lantigua.
Okay, Elvin Lantigua.
Yeah, we'll put the name down. It's a weird name. Both names, it's okay. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Just keep pointing down.
Just keep pointing down.
Yeah, that's it. We'll put it on here.
I'm going to put all of his contact info. If you're headed to San Diego, if you're in San Diego, if you're in the market, if you're interested in learning, if you're looking to rent, I'm sure he can answer your questions. If not, he's one of those guys that will definitely go ahead and find out the information and get back to you.
That's another thing real quick too. It's not just real estate. Like I said, like I spent 6 years in higher education. Any college questions you have, any transition questions that you have, I'm more than happy to help. Like that's where I have fun is really giving those extra tidbits because I know you're gonna be better off after we speak.
Yeah, absolutely. In addition, you can visit us dotmilgear.com. We've got hats, shirts, coffee. Coffee's amazing. Elvin, I gotta say,
man, that is.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you out some. It's
no,
pretty
I have. I bought it, dude.
Oh, did you?
House right now, yeah, that thing.
Awesome.
I got the guerrilla warfare one, man.
Yeah, that's the popular. Everyone keeps crushing the guerrilla warfare. I had a little bit too while I was in the podcast. I was itching over here.
There you go, man. You need that.
But yeah, go ahead, visit the website, help us out. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button below. That corner, I'm not sure which one it's in. But go ahead and subscribe. We're also on Google Podcast, Spotify, and now Apple iTunes. Please give us a like, a subscribe, a share, a follow, whichever apply. And if you can, on the other audio platforms, please leave us a review. It would help out a lot. Elvin, thank you so much for coming on. And we'll be talking in the future. And also, not to mention, Elvin's going to help co-host the podcast as well. So you'll be seeing a lot more of him. And we're really excited because he brings a really unique perspective, super intelligent guy. And thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man. I look forward to all of our future endeavors. There will be many, and we're going to be all right. We're going to do great because it really just comes down to that hard work and that actual care. So we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Stay motivated.
All right, man. Take it easy.